So, Mike, what's interesting, even though you often had some of the same stars, it does feel like every Olympic experience, even if you have LeBron on two teams, feels different to me. You have different chemistry, different expectations, different playing time. Take me back to your first Olympic experience and to your last, and the different challenges you sometimes face, even though you have a wonderful roster.
Well, the main challenge you have to face is the fact that you're playing a game that's different. It's still called basketball, but it's FIBA basketball, the Federation of International Association of Basketball, and a different ball, two more panels, administered just a little bit differently with referees. And so you are the team that's adjusting. The international teams, that's how they play.
Yeah.
So there's a period of adjustment that needs to be made. And the fact that one of the main things is a lot of the teams that you play against, they have the same core people over and over. Like the two top teams that we played against during my time were Spain and Argentina by far.
Yeah.
And same guys. It was like a brotherhood for them. And so, no, it was. I mean, the Gasols played forever, Ginobili, Scola, and all these guys for Argentina. And so what Jerry Colangelo tried to do when he took over USA Basketball in 2005 was to create some level of continuity. So I became the first national coach. That means you had a 4-year run, just like Steve Kerr has a 4-year run. And that created continuity. And then could you get some of the same players? So in 2008 with the Redeem team, 5 of those players ended up being on the London team in 12. And 5 players from our world championship team in Istanbul also came. So I had 10 players who understood FIBA, and that helps. And that's what's helping Steve Kerr right now. You have Kevin Durant, going for his 4th gold medal. LeBron going for his 3rd. You have guys, Curry. A lot of people say he's going for his first gold, but he has 2 golds. He won the world championship in 10 and in 14. So he understands FIBA, and so does Anthony Davis. The veterans on that team, and a couple of the guys who played for Coach Popovich for Pop in winning in Tokyo are on the team. So there's some level of familiarity, Colin, and that is really very, very important.
So I think it's difficult. It's only 40 minutes long. Everybody's great.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr the other day literally apologized for not getting Jason Tatum in, but sometimes it's matchups. Sometimes I felt bad for him because I'm thinking to myself, well, right now Derek White and Drew Holiday work in this rotation. Did you find when you were coaching, you wouldn't do this at Duke, but you were looking down the bench thinking, I got this great all-star. I got to get him in the game. Did you coach sometimes like that?
I'll be honest with you, I did not. But when we met as a team and developed standards of how we were going to live together, and we were bonded by the fact that we wanted to win the gold.
Yeah.
And really, the only question that will be asked of a player, say I played in the Olympics in 2024, they're going to ask, did you win? They're not going to ask how much you played, how much you scored. Did you win? And so I asked each of the guys to give me their word to pledge that they would do anything that was needed. Less minutes, more minutes, not playing, to win the gold medal. And they all did. And we tried to come up with a rotation of probably 9 guys and maybe 10, and who started, and to give some level of continuity. And then a key thing in the real close games was to have a closing unit in the last 6 minutes or so that were accustomed to playing with one another, that would be somewhat different from the starters. And I tried to use that throughout, and it I never really, I didn't worry about the playing time of players because they shouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah.
They should only be worried about one thing, and that's winning. And all, and I think this team has that mentality.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the 5 teams I coached, all those guys were terrific in handling that.
So
You
international.
can't worry about,
Yeah.
you cannot worry about playing time. You got to be worried about defending the 3 and not committing too many team fouls that give them free throws. And if
Yeah.
we do those 2 things, then we're going to win.
International basketball has exploded. I can remember 25 years ago when people talked about international players, they were like, oh, they're soft. Domestic players are tougher. Well, now we're adopting and adapting to their game. I watch Wemby sometimes block shots in the NBA with his elbow. Do you remember? I mean, it's insane. He doesn't look like any player I've seen. Even a Chet Holmgren, who was terrific at Gonzaga and OKC, doesn't really compare. Do you remember the first time you heard about Wemby? I mean, what do you make when you watch him? When was the first time you heard about Wemby?
Yeah, a few years ago when I had not seen him yet, and then in seeing him for the first time, and where he's like maybe 4 or 5 inches taller than Gobert. I said, "Oh my God!" And then he's dribbling the ball and shooting jump shots and going behind his back. I said, "All right, this is there's nobody like this guy."
Yeah.
And but Colin, 1/4 of the NBA's players are international players, and that's only going to increase because uh, the international players are taught differently. They're not in a scholastic and academic environment that regulates how much they can practice, how much they can play. So in some respects, they have a greater continuity of being coached, and we need to change that in our country, in men's college basketball, and not having 20 hours a week only of practice or 4 hours a week during the summer. It's outdated. It's ridiculous, and we need to have shot clocks in every state. We need to play the game the same way in our country.
Yeah.
It's played in so many different ways. Whereas in the other countries, if you're in France, Spain, Italy, whatever, from a youngster until you're an adult, you play the game the same way and you're accustomed to playing with a shot clock.
So a couple non-Olympic things to discuss. I like JJ Redick. I think he's smart. I think he's
So do I. I love him.
he's curious. He's feisty. He's competitive. All the things that make a great coach. Some have said he can be a little arrogant. He can be, but some of the great players and coaches have that. There's a line between that arrogance and confidence. When you hear that, when you hear the criticisms that he's a little arrogant, what do you make of that? Because I always thought he was super confident, but I kind of think that's his DNA. That's his edge. What do you make of those criticisms?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't pay any attention to him because, we're dominated by social media. So who is making the criticism? Where, opinions are good, but where's the opinion coming from?
Right.
And what's the source? For me, JJ's amazingly competitive and is prepared as well as any player that I coached at Duke. He's smart, he's confident, and he understands the game. And having 15 years of being a pro, he has empathy for the guy trying to make it when he's trying to make it, who makes it, and for the veteran who is still trying to make it. He was never a superstar in the NBA, but he was certainly a superstar in the National Player of the Year when he played in college. So I think he has empathy for what a roster would look like. He certainly understands the pro game, and he desperately wants to be a coach. And I think he's surrounded himself up to now, I don't know his entire staff, with some veteran coaches, which that will help him. But I love him. I think he's terrific, and I think he can relate to his players at the best level.
Yeah. You've had such a great opportunity and have a relationship with LeBron James. And
Right.
I've said he reminds me a bit of Tom Brady, where he's such an adult. Tom and him have such deep respect for the game itself, for the
Right.
academic, scholastic side, for the training side. I want you to go back because you've had a relationship with LeBron forever. And much like
Right.
Wemby, Pete, we don't get to see practice stuff. You got to see practice stuff with LeBron. Take me to a moment, maybe it was Olympics, maybe it was high school, when you recruit all these guys from Zion to LeBron to Christian Laettner, who I thought's still one of the greatest college basketball players I've ever seen. Do you remember the first glimpses of LeBron? And did you not only see athleticism, but just a different mindset? He was 20 going on 40. Did you notice it immediately?
I noticed him when I started coaching him, how smart he was. You know, you're a little bit shocked at the athleticism and just this amazing athlete that's there. And then you add intelligence, then you add a command voice, then you add leadership, and then you add something that a lot of people don't have, and that's the will to prepare to win.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to win. Not everyone will pay the price every day, every year to be at their best. Uh, Before a practice, I mean, he has the same guy helping him for 2 decades.
Yeah.
You know, he stretches for over a half hour, and he preps his body, and while he's prepping his body, he's prepping his mind, and um, he's just so damn prepared. Uh, he and Kobe were the two guys I thought were just above everyone in preparation,
Yeah.
physical, mental, you name it. And when they were on the court at a practice or in a game, they wanted to be the best
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
all the time, and they paid the price for it. And you know, we for anyone who knocks LeBron in any way, they're just crazy. Like, you know, we're not going to see anybody like him.
Nope.
He's one of a kind.
Yep.
Just in what he's doing in the Olympics, his verve, his demeanor, his attitude. You know, I mean, he helps his team by how he looks,
Yeah.
not just how he plays. I want to play with a guy who looks like him because there's hardly anybody who looks like that. Yeah, I mean, facially,
Yeah.
not just body wise. His the face of a champion.
Yeah.
This guy has that face of a champion.
Finally, I know we don't want to build up Cooper Flagg too much, but I did watch him, and he's a really interesting player.
Yeah.
So for somebody that had never seen him play, obviously he was very good very early, and he's going to be the number 1, 2, or 3 pick. And who knows
Right.
NBA. But if I'd never seen him play, I want you, 42 years at Duke, I've never seen him play. And you tell me about what would I expect going to see Cooper? What does he do in your labyrinth of experience? What does he do that is unique?
Well, it's something that a lot of players are not doing right now. And he loves to not only play, he loves to compete. I'm talking about love. You know, like he doesn't care who's watching. He's playing. He loves the game. And that's not found as much. Yeah, you know, like he plays the game because he loves it. And he's an outstanding athlete. He's positionless, and he competes like crazy. He's got I don't know if I haven't coached him, but watching him, he seems to me has a temper or an anger, a competitive anger that takes him to a whole nother level. Like he's totally immersed in playing, and then he's extremely talented.
Yeah.
And he's not just talented; he's extremely talented. but he has all those intangibles that I've just said. And so if you put that in an outstanding athlete, you're going to have a very special basketball player. And this kid, hopefully he stays healthy and continues to maintain that in this world of now social media and
Right.
all, I think people can get a player can get too caught up in all that and in what other people think of them. Forget it. It's what you think of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what your coaches think of you, and just stay in that lane and keep that passion. And this kid's going to be very, very special.
I was thinking about this. I've called her Taylor Swift in tennis shoes, is what I call Caitlyn Clark. Is that I knew she was talented years ago, and then all of a sudden Taylor Swift does the Eras tour, and you can't get tickets. She sells out SoFi Stadium seven nights in a row. Everybody in LA went to it. And I watched Caitlyn Clark a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh, she's fun to watch, and it is a tsunami of basketball. Were even you taken back? First of all, she's very good. But were you taken
really
back by what she's done to women's basketball? Because it's got a Taylor Swift feel, Coach. It's like taking over the country.
Well, it does. And I think also it's the moment to take it over. Women's basketball is terrific. And it's continued to progress. And all of a sudden now it seems this opening for her. And it's like it meshes. And, the cool thing, one of the cool things about her is that she was at Iowa for a career. So she became like a cult hero there.
Yeah.
So it was like an off-Broadway thing, where she was accustomed to the crowds and whatever. And she handles it so well. And she had like about a 10-game adjustment in the WNBA. And now she's going crazy there also. You know what she is? She's genuine. And I think her knowledge, her feel for the game, I think the best thing she does is pass.
Yes. She's a great passer.
She's an amazing passer. And she sees things. I mean, everyone talks about her shooting and her scoring, and obviously she does that really well. But she makes teammates better. And putting her on a WNBA team where you have, adults, you have you have older players and really talented players, you're going to see her talents even more. And I think you're continuing to see it. And she's going to be one of our great American players. I know some people are angry about her not being on the Olympic team, and the timing wasn't right yet, but certainly she'll belong there. And it's kind of like in 2008, Kevin Durant was on our select team, and we almost picked him for the Redeem team, and then he was on the World Championship in 2010 and he averaged 33 points a game in the medal round, and then he took off. I think that trajectory will be there for Caitlyn. I really admire how she's handled everything, and she's won over the people competing against her.
Yeah,
they see that she's tough, she can handle it, and but I love her passing. Yeah. I think passing's become a little bit of a lost art with all the ball handling drills and whatever. And she sees things that most players do not see.
42 years, 5 championships, 3-time Olympic gold medal winning coach, the great Mike Krzyzewski. You look great, by the way. You're doing something right. You're happy and joyful because you look fantastic. You don't have to be on the recruiting trail 24/7. You probably sleep now occasionally, right?
That helps. The recruiting trail is not the one I want to be on anymore. But, no, I'm really lucky. I consult for the NBA now. I speak a lot. I still work at Duke. I'm in my conference, my conference room, and I got 10 grandkids that live within 10 minutes of me. So I'm busy all the time.
Wow. That's a good life. Great seeing you, Coach. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good being on.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.